Pentatonix is one of the most joyful, catchy a cappella groups there is. They've grown a lot since the start of their career, with some sad and surprising turns along the way that you may not know about.
As many longtime fans of Pentatonix know, the three founding members, Kirsten Maldonado, Scott Hoying, and Mitch Grassi, met when they were all in high school. Grassi told Go Pride that the three each shared an affinity for choir that would prove to be instrumental in their lives. Hoying has also shared a similar story, explaining to Entertainment.ie that the three grew up together and that he went on to develop a passion for a cappella music that he quickly shared with Maldonado and Grassi. In fact, Grassi explained to the site just how new a cappella was to each of them. Each of the members of the group had a long-time interest in musical theater, classical music, and choir, but once Hoying learned about a cappella music, it was a game changer. Grassi said, "So we all really loved music, but the a cappella thing wasn't really a main thing for any of us. When Scott went to college, he was in an a cappella group, and that's when he started to get into it." In 2011, Hoying, Grassi, and Maldonado decided it was time to take their act to the next level. Hoying and Maldonado were in college when the former asked the rest of the group if they wanted to try out for the sing-off. Luckily, they agreed, but then they were promptly confronted with a snag. They needed 5 people in their group to be on the show. Hoying told Entertainment.ie that they solved the problem quickly, explaining, "I wanted to try out for the sing-off with my 2 friends, Kirsty and Mitch, but you have to have at least 5 people, so we decided to add a bass and beatboxer." The Hollywood Reporter has noted that things really came together for Pentatonix when they were down to the wire. It turns out that the quintet wasn't all the way formed until the day before they were due to audition. Kevin Olushala told the publication that things really were that hectic. He was planning to go to medical school before taking the leap to join the group. Clearly, it was meant to be. Olushala added, "I had no idea we could connect like that instantaneously. We had this musical synergy that I had never felt before." In the end, Pentatonix ended up winning season 3 of the show, setting the group on a path toward a surreal degree of success. The members of Pentatonix were surprised when they were unceremoniously dropped from their record label not too long after their sing-off win. In retrospect, Maldonado says the move wasn't that difficult to understand given the unusual nature of the group. She told TribLive.com, "They didn't know what to do with us, which is understandable because we are a cappella, which is not commonly mainstream." Instead of giving up, the group decided to take matters into their own hands and harness the power of social media and YouTube. Scott Hoying told Entertainment.ie that the YouTube channel was really the secret to everything. After explaining that the group was worried people's attention spans would move on quickly once the novelty of their sing-off win had worn off, he says that moving the show to the internet was the plan. He added, "We thought people are going to forget about us really fast, and our label had dropped us, so we thought, okay, I guess we're on our own. Let's start a YouTube channel." And that's when it really took off. It's not surprising that they feel like a family. Hoying told Entertainment Weekly that the group is so much like a family that they don't always gel with one another, with Mitch Grassi adding, "We get snappy." Hoying was quick to explain that while that's true, the group gets along and works together well. Hoying also told Entertainment.ie that if there's one thing that can test the group's bond, it's being out on the road. Understandably, the grind of performing each night and traveling each day can exhaust even the closest of friends, and Hoying says that having to arrange music while doing so compounds that considerably. He explained, "We always have to arrange on tour and write on tour, so whenever we have to double up on work, do shows, and write and arrange before and after them, usually we're a little more tired and irritable." While it's clear that each of the members of Pentatonix have been serious about the group since the sing-off, Scott Hoying and Kirsten Maldonado had to prove their dedication in a big way. When it was time to do the show, they were each in their freshman years of college. In the end, they had to make a choice, stay in school or move to Los Angeles to pursue their dream. Maldonado told Tulsa World that she had originally planned to move to New York to pursue a career in stage performance before taking a sharp turn westward instead. She says that the chance to be on the show together was too much to pass up, explaining, "We thought it would be a cool opportunity and take us to the next level where we all wanted to go individually." It might be tempting to assume that the members of Pentatonix are so close that they must all love the same music, but doing so would be a mistake. While speaking to Entertainment.ie, Scott Hoying explained that though each member is into something else, their common enthusiasm for harmonies is what ties the group together. He said, "Mitch loves tons of harmonies. I was always a big R&B guy. Avi loves choral music, and Kevin loves classical music, so he's really big into counterpoint and technical things. Kirsten loves singer-songwriters." Hoying also says that these diverse influences differences in interests are what make the group stronger. Additionally, the fact that each member can draw from a different influence makes the music they work on and create together all the more powerful and enriched. When it was time to release the group's first original album, Grossi told Popdust that they drew inspiration from a variety of sources, including singers from the 1990s. He said, "The funny thing is, I feel like we pulled a lot of influence from either 90s singers like Lauryn Hill or people who are imitating her, like Tori Kelly." Even though Pentatonix got their start by performing a cappella covers on the Sing-Off and on YouTube, the group had its sights set on producing their own original music too. In an interview with Entertainment.ie from 7 years ago, Mitch Grossi emphasized this point when he explained, "This next album that we're going to do is primarily original, so we're starting to work with writers and write on our own to kind of create our own sound."
I feel like the first time we were working on an original album, there were a lot of questions about how do we do it? What's the formula for an awesome pop song? And
that album ended up being their self-titled release that hit music stores, radio, and the internet in 2015. As reported by Billboard, the album hit #1 on the brand's Top 200 chart, which was an incredibly impressive feat for an a cappella group. Scott Hoying told the Sun Chronicle that making the decision to create original music was pretty natural for the group. It was just time. He said, "I think we thought it was time to focus on originals because we had just done a bunch of covers and we had had success in that way." As he added, the group just felt like it was the right time to go for it, so they did. Pentatonix had a lot to celebrate when the 2015 Grammys rolled around. The group won their first ever award for Best Arrangement, Instrumental, or a cappella. The group was understandably thrilled with the win, even updating their website with a statement celebrating their victory. They wrote, "More than 48 hours later, we are still feeling the Grammy buzz. This past weekend was one of the greatest of our entire lives and such a major moment for Pentatonix." The group capitalized on their success almost immediately, heading out on a nationwide tour throughout the United States. As Riff magazine notes, the band sold out nearly all of their dates. While speaking to the publication ahead of the Grammy Awards, Scott Hoying put all his hopes out there. Pentatonix really wanted to win. He said that he felt like they had a strong shot, especially because of the unique nature of their group, explaining, "People want to see something new, refreshing, organic. I think there's something humble and super fun about a cappella." When it comes to writing and arranging their own music, the members of Pentatonix really prefer to work together as much as possible. Scott Hoying told Cincinnati Magazine that typically one member of the group will come up with an idea for a song or arrangement and explain how the other members can contribute to either original music or performing a cover of a song. Since he, Mitch Grossi, and Kirsten Maldonado all have different styles and voices, the group then begins collaborating on how to best make the song shine. Hoying adds that when it comes to arranging a song, there is often a lot of improvisation, but the end result is often the same, just a good time with people they each love. He explains, "By the time we're done arranging it, we have it learned and ready to perform. It's a really fun, organic process, just making stuff up on the spot with your friends." As people who are still quite young, it's not really surprising that the members of Pentatonix have been very adept at using the power of social media to build their brand and band. While speaking to Billboard in 2019, Scott Hoying was quick to credit social media with being their, quote, "biggest power move," as using the various platforms has allowed the band to directly interact with fans and build loyalty and even friendships.
Hey, we're Pentatonix!
In fact, Pentatonix began as the trio when they first started their YouTube channel, but just having a channel on the platform wasn't enough. There's a lot of work that goes into making something happen professionally through YouTube and other social media and sharing platforms. One way Pentatonix used YouTube to their full advantage was to really flesh out the description box of each video, adding links to their website, sites where fans can buy songs, and all of their social media pages and accounts. Fans were able to feel like they really had a bond with the band, which in turn made fans keep coming back for more.
One thing's for sure, this talented group is consistently dedicated to their craft. As the members of Pentatonix explained to Entertainment Weekly, they even went as far as to take French lessons for one of their songs. When they decided to do a cover of Papa Ute by Stromae, they knew they were stepping out of their comfort zone, performing a piece entirely in the French language. And apparently it wasn't an easy task for the fivesome, with members of the band calling the experience, quote, "so hard, a little rough, and tedious." Scott went on to explain that he managed to push through the lessons because of the thrill of performing the original song. Plus, as Mitch noted, they knew fans would be disappointed if they didn't characteristically crush it, which they totally did, even performing it live for a French audience. Over the years, Pentatonix has amassed legions of loyal fans, and among their dedicated followers are a few familiar names. As they shared with Entertainment Weekly, their famous fan base includes Channing Tatum, Bonnie Hunt, Kelly Clarkson, Imogen Heap, and Christina Perri. And as the group confessed, they still get a little starstruck when meeting other stars. Scott explained that he had loved Kelly Clarkson ever since he was a kid. And when he met her backstage at a concert, she apparently claimed she'd seen the entire collection of Pentatonix music videos. Scott told the outlet, "I never asked for pictures with celebrities, but I was like, I have to ask for a picture because I want the band to believe this story."
They can sing, y'all. It's insane.
The group even later went on to tour with Clarkson. And as for Kirsten, Channing Tatum posting their video for Royals was a huge moment. She said, "I geeked out because I was like, he's seen us." The Pitch Perfect movies arguably brought the world of acapella competition to the mainstream, and Pentatonix seemed like an obvious group to include in the story.
Hey, we're Pentatonix.
And we are so excited to officially announce we're going to be in Pitch Perfect 2.
For the sequel in 2015, the singer snagged a little cameo featuring an acapella mashup, and fans were thrilled. As Mitch explained, their performance for the film was a bit of a throwback to their early days. He told Entertainment Weekly, "It isn't really something we would do in terms of style. It was very reminiscent of the sing-off, but it was kind of fun to go back to where we started and do it up a bit cheesier than usual." Scott claimed producers were pretty easygoing with allowing the group creative freedom, telling the outlet, "They were like, do your thing. We arranged it, sent it, and they were like, check, we love it."
Amazing.
If you are a Pentatonix fan, you've probably got their Christmas tracks blasting all December long. Aside from maybe Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé, few artists have made as much of a splash from their holiday offerings. Scott even joked with Billboard that making Christmas music might have been one of their smartest moves. But he has a point. Of their 10 top 200 albums, half of those were Christmas records.
You know, Pentatonix, it's always Christmas. We're the Christmas band, some would say, so it's Christmas year-round for us.
Kirsten explained that the group kept coming back to Christmas songs for a reason, telling Nola, "Acapella and Christmas music really go well together. It feels in the spirit of Christmas, how jolly and fun Christmas songs are." Kirsten even co-wrote one of the band's original holiday tracks, "Good to Be Bad." One of the saddest moments in the group's history came in 2017, when Avi decided it was time to say goodbye. He announced his departure in a tearful Facebook video alongside the other members of the group.
"I've decided to take a step back from Pentatonix."
Reassuring fans that his 6 years with the band had been unforgettable, he explained that he had sometimes become overwhelmed by the pace of life that came with being part of Pentatonix. He said, "It's been one of the toughest decisions to make in my entire life. I believe in what we do, and I believe in what they will do." Later that year, a new bassist, Matt Sallee, had joined the group ahead of a new album and tour. And Matt, as it turned out, had already been a total fan of the people he would so closely be working with. In an Instagram post, he wrote, "They have been nothing but the most humble and sweet human beings in the world, and I'm so blessed and humbled to work with a group of people I have looked up to for such a long time. Dreams do come true, people." It appears that pop icon Ariana Grande means a lot to Pentatonix. Like, a lot. And musically speaking, she's provided the group a wealth of great material. They covered her song Problem in 2014, and then in 2019 they performed a viral compilation of her music for The Evolution of Ariana Grande. Grande saw the video and tweeted it, writing, "This is so incredible, my face has chills, and the last minute made me sob." To that rave review, Pentatonix replied, "Thank you, Ariana Grande, for the kind words. We're so happy you enjoyed it. We love you." In fact, the group talks about Grande so much that there's actually a 5-minute mashup video on YouTube composed purely of clips of those moments. And when asked by Billboard what their favorite album of 2018 was, the whole group agreed it had to be Grande's Sweetener. Scott admitted, quote, "We're Ariana stans." A little. Could there be a collaboration in the future? We can only cross our fingers. If you're looking for even more music from the Pentatonix gang, you're in luck. Two of the members of the group, Scott and Mitch, created a duo called Superfruit. As Mitch explained to Out in 2017, it's a little less G-rated, but the funny thing is there isn't a difference between Pentatonix and Superfruit as far as who we are, because Scott and I are being ourselves in both situations. Superfruit is more gay-friendly and a lot more liberated. In an interview for Paper, Scott said that branching out from the main group was pretty easy thanks to some early rule-making. He explained to the outlet, "We've always had a rule. Since everyone has their own solo project, even from the very beginning, our rule has been that everyone can do whatever they want, but Pentatonix always comes first." Sounds like we don't have to worry about Pentatonix breaking apart into solo projects anytime soon, which is good because we're counting on those signature acapella hits.
It takes a lot of work to keep Pentatonix going, but the band members still find time for their own projects. In addition to Mitch Grossi and Scott Hoying's Superfruit collab, several members of Pentatonix release music on their own. Grossi himself, for example, records music under the moniker Messer. He put out an EP, Roses, in 2021. Hoying also puts out solo music. He released an EP called Parallel in 2023. He reflected on The Kelly Clarkson Show that it's a difficult thing to step out on your own.
Being in Pentatonix, it's like your best friends are up there with you and you make stuff together, and I was just so scared to be vulnerable and tell my own story.
Kirsten Maldonado has released music as Kirsten TM with a trademark symbol. TM are her middle and last initial. Kevin Alushala, too, has put out a covers EP on his own. In 2022, Pentatonix performed at a Minneapolis charity event meant to combat bullying. Scott Hoying told the Star Tribune, "I think that anything we can do to put an end to bullying is something we want to do. Bullying affects kids for their entire life and affects your future." Hoying also joined Hilary Duff for a recreation of her iconic pro-gay PSA from the 2000s. In the original ad, Duff happens upon two girls who are using gay as an insult. Duff and Hoying recreated the clip for TikTok, with Hoying taking the place of the girl wearing a skirt as a top as they lip-synced the old audio. In 2023, a five-piece group dressed as the California Roll made it all the way to the semifinals on The Masked Singer. The Suspicious Sushi's five-part harmonies were unmistakable. It was, of course, Pentatonix. Matt Sallee told Entertainment Weekly that they considered switching off who would be singing at any given point, but they decided to do it all as a group instead. Kevin Alushala particularly enjoyed the fact that they were given free rein to dance around the stage in ways they wouldn't normally during a Pentatonix concert. He said, "Producers were very much encouraging in terms of go full out, live your life, have fun, be extra, be dramatic." Kirsten Maldonado agreed, explaining on The Jennifer Hudson Show that she liked the freedom she felt behind the mask.
I feel like it was like a workshop in like confidence, because since people couldn't see you, you could just like dance around and do whatever you wanted.
In 2023, the group decided to get into Christmas movies too. Candy Cane Lane, a film starring Eddie Murphy, premiered on Amazon Prime Video in December 2023. Pentatonix plays a group of carolers in the movie, lifelike toys who communicate by singing Christmas songs, a fitting role for a band whose output is so holiday-heavy. Director Reginald Hudlin told About Amazon that casting the group just made sense, saying, "When I read the script and saw reoccurring singing parts, I knew there was only one casting choice." Hudlin got to be present when the group recorded music for the film, and he loved what he heard. Though they are Christmas mainstays, Pentatonix considers themselves a secular band. That doesn't mean the members themselves are not religious, as Matt Sallee and Kevin Alushala told the Christian Post. In fact, Sallee and Alushala believe that their unique position in culture allows them to spread Christian teachings to their fans. Alushala compared them to the biblical figure of David, explaining, "He goes into the culture and he gets to infiltrate, but he also gets to stay true to the one true God." Sallee agreed, adding, "Whether we're in Madison Square Garden, whether we're at a children's hospital, God is everywhere, and he uses us." To that end, Alushala co-hosts a podcast called Imagine Faith Talk. Alushala told the Christian Beat that he hopes his podcast can help guide other entertainers. He said, "As I came up through the music industry with my vocal group, Pentatonix, I didn't have any Christians around to teach me how to stay true to my faith while finding success in the world." After Avi Kaplan left the band, he kicked off a solo career. He explained to Billboard, "I had just left a very successful career, and in general, I had a lot of hurt and a lot of healing to do." He even had doubts, wondering whether he'd made the right choice. Ultimately, Kaplan decided that yes, this was the right move, saying, "I knew I made the right decision, and at the end of the day, it's up to me to get where I want to go." Still, Kaplan acknowledges the difficulty inherent in leaving behind a sure thing. Kaplan turned that hurt and healing into music. Kaplan has put out a number of singles and several EPs in the years since he left Pentatonix. His debut album, Floating on a Dream, was released in 2022. He told NPR that he enjoyed rising to the challenge of making music on his own, explaining, "I can do whatever I want creatively and artistically. I had a beautiful time recording this and singing with myself." Floating on a Dream hit number 57 on Billboard's top album sales chart. As he told NPR, "It feels like I'm on the right path." Along with his friend and fellow Pentatonix member Mitch Grassi, baritone Scott Hoying is openly gay. While he's since grown to be more publicly open about his sexuality, Hoying strived to keep it hidden for the group to be able to gain traction in the industry in the early stages of their career. He told the Dallas Voice, "I was essentially back in the closet again after working so hard to come out of it. Considering how his place in the LGBTQ community is such an important aspect of who he is, it must have been difficult for Hoying to perform while suppressing such a crucial element of his identity. Thankfully, he's totally open about who he is now and will never have to suppress his true self ever again." Similar to his friend and bandmate Scott, tenor Mitch Grassi faced his own struggles revealing his sexual identity when he was younger. In Grassi's case, this was due to being raised in a small-town conservative environment defined by traditional values. Though it was imaginably difficult for Grassi to truly be himself in his youth, the temperature in his community has positively adjusted. He told Bringing It Backwards in 2021, "It's kind of progressing now. I'm happy to see progress after living away for so long." He's also come into his own over the years and has let his identity flow into his music. He told the Dallas Voice, "I suppose it plays a huge role in my music since it's a big part of who I am. I will always write from a queer point of view unless I write from a character point of view." Between his highly celebrated beatboxing, cello playing skills, and his fluency in Mandarin, Pentatonix beatboxer Kevin Olushala has proven he's a multifaceted, greatly talented individual. However, that doesn't mean his success came easily. In a June 2020 Facebook reel, Olushala discussed his struggles working as a person of color, citing his parents' issues moving to the United States and their determination to give him and his siblings better lives. He said,
"Opportunity is not the same or on equal footing if you look like us."
To both be seen as normal and bring his aspirations to life, Olushala said he had to work extra hard and frequently put himself out there, despite facing criticism from his peers for doing so. In light of Avi Kaplan's departure, Matt Sallee was imaginably faced with a great deal of pressure replacing a founding and fan-favorite member of the band. Though some Reddit users acknowledged the disappointment toward Kaplan leaving, some fans gave Sallee a fighting chance as a new member. One user said, "I know everyone misses Avi, and I definitely miss him too, but I think people need to remember that he still has music out." Another wrote, "Saying that the group is worse off without him is not only insulting to Matt, who is an incredibly talented musician, but it is insulting to Avi, and saying that his reason for leaving the group isn't valid." Considering the group's continued success over the years, it seems Sallee has fit perfectly into Pentatonix's dynamic, despite any objections he might have faced when he first joined. Before she married Ben Hausdorff on April 21, 2024, Kirsten Maldonado had previously been engaged to Jeremy Michael Lewis. In May 2016, Lewis proposed to her in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower. Maldonado described the proposal as surprising and well-planned. She told People, "I was just so shocked because it was so out of the blue and wonderful. I was so happy. There were no words." However, things didn't stay wonderful for too much longer. The couple postponed their wedding in 2017, citing undisclosed relationship problems. Per an unnamed source that spoke with Radar Online, the wedding had been planned to take place in December 2017. The source said, "Invites did not go out yet. They are staying together to work on separate issues." Obviously, things ultimately didn't work out, since Maldonado is now married to Hausdorff. While we don't know the details about how everything fell apart, it goes without saying that it must have been a terrible experience for her.
In 2022, Scott Hoying announced that he had gotten engaged to his model boyfriend Mark. He told People, "I have never met anyone that was so kind and selfless. I have always just felt so comfortable with him."
We are a few months away. How excited are you to marry the man of your dreams, Scott?
Excited. I'm so excited.
The pair married in July 2023 in a seaside Santa Barbara ceremony that included all of Hoying's Pentatonix bandmates. They also boasted singer Christina Perry as the wedding's officiant. Hoying performed at his own wedding. He sang For, a song he wrote for Mark. He told People, "The song is one of my favorite songs I have ever written, as it is a love letter I dedicated to Mark after we had dated for 4 years, and I can barely sing it without crying." Fans of Mitch Grassi and Scott Hoying began wondering whether they were in a relationship. Pride.com even rounded up their cutest couple goals moments, noting that they often called one another husbands and were physically affectionate on their YouTube channel. Hoying and Grassi played into fan speculation in a YouTube video called Are We Dating?, where they answered questions from listeners. Rather than directly telling fans whether they were a couple, they kept things vague.
We have been Matt touchy lately.
Ultimately, Grassi and Hoying are not a couple, and they were not a couple while they were focusing on Superfruit. However, according to an interview with Paper Magazine, they did briefly date in high school. Nowadays, of course, Hoying is married. While there were rumors that Kirsten Maldonado dated former band member Avi Kaplan, those turned out not to be true. Instead, Maldonado has been in a relationship with filmmaker Ben Hausdorff for a while. He filmed a music video for the Acapella group, as well as a solo video for Maldonado.
Pentatonix management hit me up and said, hey, we're recording this album and we're doing it a little differently than we normally do.
Maldonado and Hausdorff welcomed a girl named Eliana in June 2022. The Pentatonix singer wrote on Instagram, "We are soaking up every beautiful, perfectly imperfect newborn moment. Every late night cuddle, feed, cry is all worth it with our sweet baby and my perfect partner in crime." The new parents announced even more good news less than a year later, going public with their engagement in March 2023 while in Japan. On Instagram, Maldonado shared several adorable selfies showing off her new ring. Alongside one, she wrote, "Somehow now Japan is even more so my favorite place in the world than it was before. I love you forever and always." A few years after he joined Pentatonix, Matt Salih announced on Twitter that he had gotten engaged to a woman named Sarah Bishop. He wrote, "I waited and prayed and God gave me you. I will love you for the rest of my life." They married in 2022, and the couple told People that it was the culmination of a relationship they started with love at first sight. They said, "We both knew pretty much after our first date that the connection was rare and special. Our walk on the moonlit beach that night solidified it." Kevin Olusola married college admissions counselor Lee Weissman in 2019 after 2 years of dating. Their wedding took place over 2 days, combining Olusola's Nigerian family traditions with Weissman's Italian ones. Speaking with People, they reiterated their love for one another, saying, "We're both just so excited to have our absolute best friend as a spouse as we enjoy this crazy journey we call life." In April 2021, the couple announced on Instagram that they had become parents.